Hello, I'm Max Burson, and I wanted to document exactly how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, and just generally how things are going as I attempt to make my way into the world of content creation. Now, I'm hoping to get a few things out of this. The first thing could be that, if I'm successful, these videos could be useful for anyone that's trying to follow the same path. Might be able to get some tips, tricks, or just an idea of how I've done it. Of course, I could fail, and this video will be quite funny for anyone that stumbles across it randomly in some time. This is also useful for my family, as they may want to know what it is that I'm doing, as I've decided to do this full time. I currently am not working. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But this is something for them to be able to see what I'm doing and get an update from me without necessarily having to trawl through all the videos to do with gaming content, which they're not really going to be that interested in. Hello, Mum. Hello, Grandma. Hope you guys are well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play some game footage just because I think Ori and the Blind Forest looks much better than I do. So I'm going to put that on now. Right, that's better. In this first installment of this vlog, I guess installment's the best word. I'd almost said episode, but episode sounds weird when you talk about a video log. So in this first installment, I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am, why I'm doing this, and what my expectations are going in. So, I'm 32 years old. I've been into gaming ever since I can remember. When I was very young, my dad bought a Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and the first game that I remember on it is a game called Eyeball 2. It was kind of like this weird puzzly platformer game. I'm going to dig out some footage of it and use it in a different video that I have in mind, so if you're curious about it, you can either Google it yourself, or it will be featured on the channel at some point. As we grew up, my sister and I were very much into Sega consoles. Those are the ones that we saved for, and those are the ones that we bought. I had friends with Nintendos, and I was envious of them. Like, I did love the Nintendo consoles as well, but obviously as kids, saving our pocket money to buy a console, we could only really afford to be getting one at a time. So we went from a Master System to a Mega Drive, or a Sega Genesis, for those of you over in the States. But eventually we got our first PC. Our first PC was obviously a complete monster. It was a 386 processor with, it was a 33 megahertz 386 processor with 4 megabytes of RAM and a 40 megabyte hard drive. Absolutely amazing, proper powerhouse. It even had one of those turbo buttons on it that changed it from 33 megahertz to 66 megahertz. It ran MS-DOS and Windows 3.1, I think, at the time. And this was back in the days when if you wanted to play games on the PC, you had to tweak your boot files in order for them to load up, which is probably what led me down the path of an IT support career. But I'll get into that a little bit more later on. That was it, really. As soon as I started playing PC games, I was hooked on PC games. We used to play the point-and-click adventures, me, my sister, my dad, a little family thing, kind of gathered around the computer and trying to figure out the puzzles to Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle and all those kind of things. And it was a lot of fun. We did still play consoles. I bought an N64, and anyone who didn't have an N64 in the late 90s definitely missed out. I still even have consoles to this day. I still pretty much have to buy every Nintendo console that comes out just because Mario Kart is the greatest thing in the world. Hopefully one day Nintendo will stop trying to make consoles and just release their games on other platforms. That'd be fantastic, but we can only hope. In the last 10 years or so, most of my gaming life has been dominated by World of Warcraft. Got into it pretty much as soon as it came out. It was the first MMORPG I played, and it kind of blew my mind away and sucked me in. And for the last 10 years, sort of on and off, I've been playing it, but mostly on. Not quite as hardcore as I used to. I used to be massive into raiding, was part of the officers of a successful raiding guild for a long time. But these days, don't really raid as much as I used to. It's incredibly time-consuming. Before World of Warcraft, I was really into Counter-Strike. First-person shooters were my thing, and I was really into Counter-Strike. I was even quite good at it, but my skills these days do not reflect the fact that I was quite good at it once upon a time. After World of Warcraft, although we do still kind of play it every now and again, the guys that we used to run the guild with, a guild called Cynical, we've remained friends, and we've kind of played games. We drift in and out. We just try all kinds of things. We played everything from competitive League of Legends to games like Secrets of Grindia, which we've done a video for on the channel at the moment. So why am I doing this? Well, I've been working in IT for just under 10 years or so, and I'm quite good at it. It's something that I've had an affinity for, and for a long time, just being good at it was enough. You know, I'm not really motivated by money. Don't get me wrong, I do like money. I need it to pay bills and buy stuff that I like. But it doesn't necessarily get me out of bed in the morning. I don't wake up and think, how can I make more money today? I'm not really looking for wealth. It's not something I've ever really desired. As long as I'm happy and I can do the things that I like with the people that I like, then it's all good. But in the last couple of years, I've started getting this creative itch. Now, I've historically not really been a hugely creative person, or at least not that I've ever really noticed. But in the last couple of years, I've been really trying to get into creative things. I've been doing some creative writing, which I still do and I enjoy a little bit when I have the time. And I tried getting into 3D animation thanks to Valve's Source Filmmaker, which was quite fun for a little while, but then it kind of escalated and I started trying to get into 3D modeling so that I could make the assets for the projects that I wanted to work on in Source Filmmaker. And then through 3D modeling, I realized that I probably needed to learn to sketch a little bit so I could write down my ideas before I started trying to create models for them. And it just seemed to be kept escalating and escalating. I needed to start learning more and more skills, and it kind of got to the point where I was like, it's going to be years before I'm capable of achieving what I want to do, and I kind of get the feeling that I'm trying to do something that teams of people normally do. And so since I couldn't just do it all myself, I kind of decided to get out of it. I eventually started recording my gameplay with the guys in the Cynical Nerds community, and editing those videos and playing around with them and uploading them to YouTube, and I was getting some pretty good feedback. I eventually created the Hearthstone class school videos, of which there is only 2, but the first one we made was very well received by the Hearthstone community, and it was a lot of fun making it. And so I've kind of wanted to get into it from there, really. Now, you see, I'm from London. Apart from some travelling here and there, I've spent most of my life there. But my girlfriend and I had decided to leave London. She's not originally from there, but we're both pretty sick of the place. It's very expensive, the people are incredibly moody, and we were both spending an hour and a half each way getting to and from work. So 3 hours a day just on trains, and it's a bit depressing. So we decided to move to Newcastle, which is where she's originally from. She was looking for work up here whilst we were still down in London, and she managed to get a good job. And so she moved up, and I handed my notice in at my job and decided to follow her up here as well. I didn't have any work lined up, but the original plan was that if I was living up here, it would be easier to find a job. What I've actually decided to do, or what we've actually decided to do, I should say, I have to thank her for her patience in this matter. We've decided that I'm not going to get a job, at least not straight away. I'm going to spend the next 6 months trying to get as much content onto this YouTube channel as I can and see if it's feasible that we could turn this into a living. I would love to be able to do this for a living. It would be absolutely amazing. This isn't traditionally what you would do normally. I think the best way to do it is you would be creating content in your spare time, and then as you become more and more successful, there will be a breaking point where you realize that you can put more time into it and turn it into a way of making a living. However, because I've moved up to Newcastle, I'm in this position where I've already quit my job. I work in an industry where it's very easy for me to look for work and find work. I'm very fortunate in that fact. And so I've decided to take some of the savings. The cost of living up here in Newcastle is so much lower than it is in London. So take some of the money that I've saved up and I'm just going to spend it on living and trying to develop some content out there over the next 6 months. And then we'll see how it goes. I mean, it might all go tits up, but it is a chance to do something I love, and I don't feel I'm risking very much. I don't mind losing a bit of money. It's not the end of the world. And also, it's a chance to live a bit of a dream. So what are my expectations going in? Well, in the long term, as I said, I'd like to be able to earn a comfortable living. It doesn't have to be loads of money. I've not got my sights set on top YouTube money. I don't want to be the next PewDiePie. Also, I don't think I know how to shout into a microphone, so it's probably not going to happen for me, even if I wanted it to. But I'd like to be able to earn enough money to support myself and, go on the occasional holiday. That'd be fantastic. That'd be amazing. I'd be doing something that I'd absolutely love doing and getting paid for it. That is the dream. I'm sure that's what everybody wants in the long term, and I think it's going to be a lot of hard work getting there. I don't think that this involves me sitting around playing computer games and then just chucking a video up on YouTube. I'm planning on creating heavily edited content. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and in 6 months' time, we'll see where we are. I mean, I'm not expecting to, in 6 months' time, go from where I am now to full-fledged professional YouTube content creator, making a decent living and being comfortable and just being there, being successful. I think it's going to take a lot more time than that. But in 6 months' time, we're going to be able to reassess. We're going to be able to look at it. We're going to be able to see, am I confident in what I'm doing? Have we developed any kind of a following? And ultimately, am I happy doing this? It could work out that in 6 months' time, I might absolutely hate having to do all this editing. I mean, I'm not at the moment. I really enjoy it and I get quite a kick out of it. But you never know. Things change. People's tastes change. We'll have to see what happens. In the short term, I'm not 100% sure what to expect. I've got my plans going in. At the moment, my general idea is to create stuff. I'm going to be making videos, putting them out there. I've got loads of ideas. It's going to be throwing them all out there and just see what sticks. I'm not expecting to get a lot of people in viewing the channel at the moment. I'm just kind of hoping that there will be a little bit of a flow through, enough to get some feedback on what I'm doing. But eventually I will start promoting. Once there is regular content coming out on the channel and I feel I've got into a groove, I'm then going to go out and try and bring the people in to try and see if there are people out there that want to consume it. If I'm lucky and what I do is good, then people will come and maybe, just maybe, this will all work out very well. Of course, in 6 months' time, I could just end up going back to an IT job, but I'm okay with that too. My girlfriend and I will buy a house, and hopefully we'll live happily ever after. Well, I think that's everything I wanted to say for this first installment of the Progress Vlog. There'll be an update just as soon as I've got one. Check back within the next couple of weeks if you're interested. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. If you didn't, please click the dislike button. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.